What is going on, guys? The greatest, absolute greatest defensive wrestler of all time, a guy who revolutionized a part of defensive wrestling for MMA, especially off the cage and hand fighting, is Jose Aldo. In my opinion, he could be regarded as the greatest featherweight of all time, depending how you slice it. It's between him and Volkanovski. There's nobody else involved. I love Max Holloway, but it's between those two guys. And like today I want to go over that. I want to go over the guys he fought and what he did as far as stats, as far as stuffing takedowns, and as far as how legendary these performances are. So 3 takedowns out of a possible 72, okay? And this is not his whole WEC career or his UFC career. This is merely the guys that I'm going to list today, the best grapplers, the best wrestlers that he's faced. We'll go through them one by one, starting with no other than Mike Thomas Brown, the former WEC kingpin. 0 of 4 takedowns, and Aldo actually got a takedown of his own. Quite impressive because Mike Thomas Brown was a juggernaut. He was taking everybody down, and he was just a powerful, powerful wrestler. We move on to his next fight, and the California Kid, right? 0 of 9 takedowns, like 0 control time. That is insane. Uriah Faber back in the day was the face of the lighter weight divisions, and he couldn't do anything against Jose Aldo. And it wasn't just him. Manny Gamborian, a guy who was known for his judo, so a different style of takedowns, got 0 of 3. 1 second of control time. 1 second of control time. These stats are absolutely insane. When I was going through this, making this video, I was blown away by my own hypothesis, and I was just blown away by how good Aldo is and how legendary of a career he's had throughout all these years. Chad Mendes, powerful wrestler, extremely explosive, would take everybody down. He took Conor down like, he was a child. 0 of 7 takedowns. 55 seconds is just stalling against the cage. Nothing for Aldo. And this was the first time he fought. First time Frankie Edgar fights Aldo. 2 of 11. So Frankie finally had some success. 2 out of 11, 18%, 57 seconds of control time. And that's all the success Frankie Edgar had. He got battered. He got absolutely battered, even though he was moving down a weight division. The next fight, Chad Mendes Part 2. How about this? 1 of 8 takedowns. 1 of 8 takedowns, 2 minutes of control time, 12% takedown accuracy. Aldo is just a king. Like, if someone's out there arguing right now or trying to make a point, write a comment about who they think is the greatest defensive wrestler in MMA history and UFC history, like, you got to look at how many people shot on this guy. This guy was a striker first, right? He wasn't like taking people down. He wasn't a grappler. People were trying desperately to take him down, and they still couldn't. They really, really couldn't. It's not like John Jones. People don't want to take John Jones down. They try not to, unless your name is Daniel Cormier. Frankie Edgar Part 2, 0 of 11 takedowns. Frankie went backwards. Aldo improved his takedown defense and battered him at UFC 200. Just epic performance. Like, every performance is epic. How about the greatest, arguably, featherweight of all time? If it's not Aldo, it's Volkanovski. How about him? 0 of 3 takedowns. He got 4 minutes and 25 seconds of control time, and that is quite impressive because he was able to hold Aldo against the cage and kind of stifle him. And Aldo is known for his inactivity, and that's a different story, but Volkanovski couldn't take him down either, and Volkanovski's taken a lot of people down. He's powerful, he's strong. The cream of the crop. How about the guy who shoots the most shots in every single fight? How about the guy who shot like 50 takedowns on Peter Yan? How about the guy who's taken down every damn person he's ever fought except Jose Aldo? 0 of 16 takedowns. 0 of 16. And he just got manhandled. Every time he shot, Aldo would just like grip fight, hand fight, get the underhook, spin off the cage. Absolutely nothing for Aldo as far as takedowns are concerned, but 5 minutes of stalling against the cage, holding Aldo against the cage, landing pitter-patter punches. And again, Aldo is inactive, and that's probably his biggest issue is his inactivity. And at one point when he was a little bit more muscular, his cardiovascular system, he would gas if he pushed the pace too much. But that's what happens when you're an explosive, athlete. You do tend to gas a bit more. Look at Yoel Romero, extremely inactive, extremely explosive. Guys, Aldo has the greatest takedown defense of all time in UFC history and MMA history. He's a pioneer. He's the first guy to really, when the single leg's taken from him, he forces the single leg first. He gets to the cage and he starts grip fighting. He starts pummeling the head down. One of the greatest fighters of all time. One of my absolute favorites of all time. And you got to give it to the guy. 3 out of 72 takedowns against these caliber of fighters. All of them are high-level grapplers and wrestlers. Let me know in the comments who you think is the greatest defensive wrestler of all time and who the greatest wrestler of all time is.